So recently, I played the atmospheric horror game Little Nightmares 2. I played the original way back when it first released, and I loved it. Its sequel, though, I never really touched. However, with the third installment out now, as mediocre as this one was, it gave me a reason to play the second, and I loved it just as much as the first. I don't know why it took me so long to get into, but as I was going through the world of Little Nightmares 2, I thought it reminded me and gave off a lot of vibes similar to another game called Limbo. And strangely enough, that was immediately followed by another thought, or rather realization, that I've never actually played Limbo ever in my life despite comparing the two. I think it's kind of like if I were to use the term Lovecraftian. H.P. Lovecraft was such an influence to his genre of horror that in video games, if I see something eldritch or cosmically terrifying, I think to myself, yeah, that's a Lovecraftian monster. But the reality is, I've never read a Lovecraft book in my life. Mostly because if the medium of literature doesn't have any pictures in it, I'm practically illiterate. Regardless, I still understand how prominent Lovecraft's influences can be in horror works today. Same thing with Limbo. I've never played this game, yet I've heard so much about it. Specifically, I've seen this little shadow guy so many times and never knew what his deal was, but I wanted to figure it out, and also confirm whether or not Little Nightmares 2 and Limbo are actually alike. And after playing, I can confirm that considering they're both games with vague or otherwise abstract storytelling that puts you in the shoes of very small characters in a proportionally massive and terrifying world that will kill you in the most brutal ways if you're not prepared, then yeah, they're similar. Limbo actually has a ton of similarities to a lot of games I've played, and you may think that put me off to playing it, but understanding that this was made over a decade ago in 2011 only made me more interested, because instead of this game being uninspired, it's instead influential. Made by Arndt Jensen of company Playdead, Limbo is a minimalist puzzle platformer with horror elements. Playing as this nameless boy waking up in the middle of a forest, you wander into the environment that seems to dramatically shift settings the deeper you go. Without a goal or any exposition to guide you, you aimlessly progress not knowing what will be the next obstacle that tries to impede you, whether that be massive spiders, mind-controlling slugs, or precarious factory equipment like saw blades or just heavy falling doors. While the controls are simplistic to get around these, running, jumping, and grabbing things, it's used to its fullest to make all kinds of varying encounters and puzzles. Now most puzzles I still found to be pretty easy and almost strangely familiar too. But again, knowing that Limbo is on the older side, it makes sense to see puzzles I feel I've done before. There's only so much you can do with running, jumping, and grabbing things. And again, with that in mind, it only made me more impressed to see things I've never seen before. Quite literally in this example, where there's a level having you not see anything at all. Only utilizing audio from throughout the game, you've learned to recognize the dangers ahead of you. Or even when you aren't running, jumping, grabbing things, or using echolocation, certain encounters are just clever. One example I found unreasonably funny is while inside this cave, you come up to this contraption that, like every other contraption, will probably kill you. However, at least it looks easy enough to avoid. There's a big button center below this massive hydraulic press. All I should have to do is not step on the button. Okay, so it's the area around the button I need to avoid, and not the button itself. I see you, game. That's pretty funny. Well, at least that's good to know for the next hydraulic. It may kind of just seem like I'm getting trolled by the developer here, but I think such a silly trap like this represents a lot of the heart of this game. Navigating dangers and slipping just through death's grasp at every moment, as everything, no matter how silly, will kill you. And mastering this is extremely fun, because when everything tries to kill you and you've learned everything this game has to throw at you, you feel like a badass dodging everything like it's nothing. While fun, you may wonder what's the point of all this if there's no goal or understanding of where you're going. Is it just fun platforming, or is there something deeper? Well, through the monochromatic imagery, it does in fact tell a story. What is that story? I'd love to tell you if I could. I'll be honest, I'm not one to read between the lines too often. I already previously mentioned that I don't even really read. But Limbo is a game that is very symbolic in nature, not telling you anything, so you kind of have to. At face value, you're a little boy probably trying to make their way back home in a perilous world. Not wanting to take the game at face value, I looked towards the Steam page to see if I was missing something. And the short description of the game is this. Uncertain of his sister's fate, a boy enters Limbo. Now that only made me more confused. Throughout the game, there were certainly allusions to a woman with these almost hallucinogenic scenes, but I had no idea that this was a sister. And the idea of just entering Limbo is perplexing on paper. Like, how did he get here? Is it Limbo in the Christian sense, being the state between heaven and hell? Because, not gonna lie, this kind of feels like hell to me. But again, not wanting to take everything at face value, I went even deeper, trying to look towards the internet for answers. And this is when I was truly lost. The first thing I went to was a fandom page that was a bunch of different theories as to what Limbo is about, and to immediately be hit with the Old Boy 2003 theory stating that this game is actually a continuation of that movie absolutely threw me for a loop. Don't get me wrong, I love the original Old Boy, though I can't confidently recommend it because it's really messed up, but I cannot see these two connected at all. Or there's also this one, while not as weird, seems to be pulled out of thin air and is kind of just the plot of Lisa the Painful. Personally, my understanding of what is happening is kind of a mishmash of a bunch of different theories presented here. I could fumble my way through an explanation based on what is shown, but it would still only be theoretical and not an actual representation of the game. Unlike a game like Grease, while it too doesn't directly tell you what is going on, it is very bluntly about grief. In Limbo's case, I'm hesitant to just throw out what I think it's about and accidentally misrepresent it. That being said, on the other side of that mindset, I also truly think there is no one set message being presented. The amount of different theories is proof enough of that fact, as the whole experience exudes a multitude of emotions within the player despite the minimalistic direction. With so little to go off of, there's no harm in projecting yourself whatever you think it's about. Even if it does seem a little goofy or out there, I'm not going to bash you for your imagination. There doesn't seem to be a right or wrong answer. It isn't just black and white. Well, the visuals are black and white. You get what I mean. I'm sure the creator Arndt Jensen may have had a story in mind, maybe one relating to him as a person and his own experiences. But if it was really one he wanted to tell and have people understand fully, he would have told it in a different manner than the beautifully evocative game we have now.
While the vast majority of players thoroughly enjoyed the experience, there was the occasional review that missed the point, that criticized the game for its bleak environment and ambiguous storytelling. These reviews made Arndt smile. Limbo wasn't supposed to be a walk in the park, and if people were reacting negatively to his creation, then it meant that his game was having a significant impact on them. If Limbo was making players feel something unique, whatever that might be, then the game was succeeding in its intended purpose.